Welcome back to the Crypto Report, everybody. I am Crypto Kip. Today, guys, we got to talk about some recent news coming out surrounding the spot Bitcoin ETF. Now, the new trendy way to describe it is an ETP. We're going to look at a little lesson that Jim Cramer taught on CNBC today, kind of pick it apart a little bit. I'm kind of watching it really for the first time with you live, so you'll kind of get my real-time take on Jim Cramer's recent statements. Obviously, the CEO of JP Morgan came out yesterday and bashed Bitcoin continuously, called it a pet rock, and a variety of different things. And it's a very interesting thing, and it's the one thing in the mainstream media that nobody's talking about. They don't talk about DeFi. They don't talk about going out and just buying an actual Bitcoin. Instead, we're talking about the money moving around in these ETFs. But if you just kind of look at there's only two little screens that I have to show you which direction this Bitcoin ETF is headed. And it's going well. It's going well. And Jim Cramer is spinning a web over here. So I want to share that with you guys. I want to look at some price action on the overall Bitcoin and crypto markets today and get into what's hot. I know there's a lot of meme coins rallying. I hope y'all are making some money. I do have a short stream today, so make sure if you guys want it to be a good one, you retweet it out, smash the like button, and let's get right in because I got some stuff to chat with you guys about today. First of all, Bitcoin, and hey Brandon, good to see you. Just looking, thanks for joining, guys. Looking at these charts right now, Bitcoin is currently at $42,600. Ethereum is at $2,500. Bitcoin dominance and Ethereum dominance are both kind of exactly where they were yesterday. Bitcoin dominance is down while Ethereum dominance is up. And Maxi and I have been talking about a potential altcoin rally if Ethereum can continue to break out. We'd like to see that. However, we are right now trading sideways after the little sell the news event. The big question is there going to be more downside? And Jim Cramer is insisting. He's insisting now that yes, which honestly, again, if history repeats itself, is bullish vibes, to be honest with you. Cryogenics, good to see you, Cryo. Papa Bigfoot, thanks for joining, guys. Good to see you. Let's look at some of the biggest gainers here as we get some people joining us. Looking at Conflux today, Flare, Blur. Filecoin is one that, don't miss Filecoin. I'm going to tell you right now. Filecoin is at some point probably going to rip in this bull market. I know some people have been on this Blur, excited about Blur and Flare. Conflux, I'm not as familiar with. Let's see what's going on with Conflux. Up 25% over the last 7 days, obviously on some big exchanges there. Another layer 1 blockchain. There you go. So layer 1 solutions, guys, are still kind of trading off pumps. It was interesting. I saw George at Cryptos R Us talk about Avalanche yesterday and just say it seems to be stuck at $40. Right as people start to feel that something's stuck or weak, you could see an explosion. Again, it all depends on Bitcoin, but yeah, I'm still bullish on all these layer 1s, guys. Somebody asked me about Zilliqa yesterday. Zilliqa's going to get a nice pump probably. Avalanche, SOlana, Cardano, Cronos, a lot of these layer 1 solutions, guys. That's really what the media is missing. They don't talk about any of this. They just don't talk about any of it at all. Simon, good to see you, or Simone. Jan, good to see you in the chat. Thanks for joining, guys. Welcome. Hope you got your coffee. Hope you're ready. I got some things to cover surrounding these Bitcoin ETFs, but just really what the mainstream media is doing. A lot of big gainers over the last 7 days. In the meantime, Bitcoin is down. Bitcoin is down 8.36%. So just because Bitcoin, and this is something we say a lot, guys, if Bitcoin goes down, altcoins are going to go down. Yeah, 90% of the altcoins do go down. That's how it works. But some shine. And as you can see, some really explode. That's how it works, guys. There's always a couple needles in the haystack. But for the most part, Bitcoin pumps, altcoins follow. Bitcoin crashes, altcoins follow. Now, let's talk a little bit about where we're at for Bitcoin right now and kind of what I expect. And we'll let some other people get in the stream. And I'm going to go into, again, some detail about this mainstream media. Now, we came down after the launch of the spot Bitcoin ETF, or the Bitcoin ETP, as Jim Cramer now wants to try to change the narrative. Let's see if there's any validity to that here in a second. But we're going to, recognize, guys, that we are down quite a bit from those highs. It came all the way down about 15% on a sell the news event. So you could say that the sell the news event is over. Jim Cramer is right now insisting that it's just begun. David says George is anti-crow. I know. I don't know why. I don't understand why either. Fun fact for you. I just saw that Ben Armstrong, as controversial as he might be, actually had on 2 of his top picks out of his top 15 picks, which let's see how they do. Were Cronos plays, actually. 2 out of 15. That's not so bad. One of them VVS Finance and another Corgi AI. I'm going to talk about that in a video later today. But talking about Bitcoin, we are bouncing beautifully off the bottom of this line here. I would expect us to take another attempt to the $43,700 level. We're back in this wedge. It's crazy to think that we came back and landed perfectly in this wedge. The wedge could be invalidated here at any point. Arguably, it already was with all this move going on, but these moves happen because of the excitement around that spot Bitcoin ETF. In the meantime, Ethereum is just hanging on above this resistance that we previously broke out of. It is still holding as support, just like the bottom of this channel for Bitcoin is holding as support at about 42,465, and Ethereum's holding above $2,450. Cronos is coming down a little bit, both versus Bitcoin now and versus the US dollar. So maybe we are actually going to see this wick play out. Could be possible, guys. I've had this red line here for a reason. It was possible that we came down to 6.8 cents. I wouldn't like to see it. But again, even Alex Labs, another Bitcoin-related token, is coming down right now, something I'm very bullish on as we're waiting on Bitcoin to decide exactly what it's going to do. Emmy Crow, just looking, says, wow, thanks for that. Just checked 6 cents, 0.06 cents average. About to take some profits. Very nice. Profits are good to take. Richard asks, Kip, what do you know about SEC coin? I got in at 0.0023, and today it is at 0.0117. Emmy, you're saying you made gains on that? That's awesome, guys. I don't know much about it, to be honest with you, and I don't have a lot of time today. I'm so sorry, guys. So I got to jet right along, and I want to get to the story here. We got 21 viewers right now, 6 likes, so smash that like button because you gotta understand this, guys. First of all, this Bitcoin ETF thing, was it good or bad? It was good. Okay, now we had a little sell the news event, but just I don't even know. I think it was Monday or it was like last week, not long ago, less than a week ago. We found out that BlackRock owned like 11,000 Bitcoin, and we found out that they were the top 15. They were the 15th biggest Bitcoin wallet in the world. Okay. Now today, we're finding out that they've doubled those holdings in a matter of days. In less than a week, they've doubled their holdings, guys. They've doubled their holdings. If they're growing at this rate, there is inevitably a point in time where these guys are going to, I said it, they're going to be a top 5 holder. They could be the number 1 holder. They could be right behind Satoshi. They're probably going to flip Michael Saylor. They got more money than Michael Saylor. So they're probably going to flip Michael Saylor. But this is an incredibly bullish thing, guys, because they're continuing. Like I said, I said they're going to dump billions and millions, billions, and possibly trillions of dollars into this asset class. Well, so far we've got $1.6 billion buy-in from BlackRock in the first 7 days. That's pretty impressive. And not just BlackRock, Wall Street giant Fidelity holds 20,000 Bitcoin at about $800 million, $1 billion. $2 billion flowed in, okay? This is real. Some people want to argue, well, money's coming out of this and going into this and going into that. Look, the best thing you can do, guys, in my opinion, is forget these ETFs altogether, okay? And that's a point I'm going to drive home on it. They're cool. They're good. Institutions can get in, but we're not an institution, you and me. What we are is people that believe in Bitcoin and crypto. If you're here, you likely believe in Bitcoin and crypto. Go buy some Bitcoin, actual Bitcoin, not an ETF through Fidelity, even though it's technically direct exposure to a Bitcoin. Just go buy an actual Bitcoin. Hold it in your own custody, not in the custody of Fidelity, which is actually using Coinbase as a custodian. No problem with Coinbase, but just buy your own Bitcoin here. So in the meantime, as you're buying Bitcoin, Wall Street and Fidelity and BlackRock, they're going to continue to buy Bitcoin as well and pump your bags. Now, if you got some investment accounts and you want to get some more risk-on exposure, Brandon with a gifted membership, congratulations, Avo. Welcome to the Crypto Report membership. You get access to our private Discord. Make sure you link your Discord with your YouTube, and you can access our chat with all the people with those beautiful colors next to the name in the chat and those awesome emojis. But just let's let these institutions pump our bags, everybody, okay? Now, Jamie Dimon came out and said he doesn't care what BlackRock's doing and all this. I showed you guys a clip yesterday, and I'm not going to show the clip again, but JPM's Jamie Dimon believes that Satoshi Nakamoto is going to increase or erase the supply of Bitcoin. They don't understand how it works. They don't understand the point of it, okay? Now, is it possible that Satoshi Nakamoto could come out and sell some Bitcoin in the future? Look, if you're being real with yourself, the answer is yes, it is possible. That's one of the biggest risks to Bitcoin. And so he's taking the one thing you can run with and running with it and adding all these twists and turns, increase or erase the supply. That's not what he's going to do. If anything, he'd sell it. That's not how it works. That's not how it works. You can't increase or erase the supply, but you can sell it. Satoshi Nakamoto can sell it, but it's just to the point of Jamie Dimon doesn't know what he's talking about. And Jim Cramer is saying the buzz around Bitcoin ETPs is a buyer beware situation. Now, what is an ETP, you might be wondering? Well, let's let Jim Cramer explain, and I've got a clip for you that I want to share with you. But it is an exchange-traded product. An exchange-traded product, and it's very, very interesting. But here's Jim Cramer. Here's a quote from him. I'm taking a page from Jamie Dimon here. This is the caveat emptor situation. He said, referring to the JP Morgan CEO, Bitcoin skeptic, you can make up your own mind about what to do with these spot Bitcoin ETPs. I just want to make sure you know exactly what you might be putting your money in and how little went into these funds versus how much Bitcoin went up. It's a very interesting spin. Why do you feel the need to tell us how little went into these funds and how much Bitcoin went up when he means how much Bitcoin didn't go up? First of all, you're a smart enough guy, Jim. Don't lie to the people. Buy the rumor, sell the news event. That's an obvious thing. So we took a 15% dump after this excitement. But in the meantime, let's look back at these numbers. Fidelity now owns 20,000 Bitcoin, and BlackRock owns 25,000 Bitcoin. What do you not see Jim Cramer talk about in this video? Any of that. Now, let me share that with you guys. Again, I'm sorry. This is going to be a short stream, but you're going to want to watch this if you haven't seen this yet, or if you have seen this and you want to get my opinion on it. That's why I wanted to share this with you guys today. So let me go ahead and get to it. Here we go, guys.
After a weird rollout last week, the era of spot Bitcoin exchange-traded products has begun. In total, the SEC approved 11 of these things, 9 brand new offerings, and 2 conversions of existing crypto ETPs. Last Thursday, they all started trading, and now that we've had a few days to absorb the impact, well, I got to explain what's really going on here. First things first, despite what you may have heard or read, these new Bitcoin investment vehicles are not exchange-traded funds, or ETFs. Instead, they're exchange-traded products, or ETPs, which makes everything more confusing. ETFs are a type of exchange-traded product, but they're not the only type. The SEC has been very clear that these Bitcoin vehicles are ETPs because it makes a huge difference from a regulatory perspective, and maybe for you too. All exchange-traded products are regulated by the Securities Act of 1933 and the Securities and Exchange Act of 1934. But ETFs are also covered by the Investment Company Act, or 40 Act, which is a law that regulates investment advisors. Anybody who issues an ETF is considered an investment advisor, which is a real pain in the neck legally.
Okay, first off, I just want to remind you guys, and I want to ask you, do you think Jim Cramer researched this stuff on his own, or do you think that the executives at CNBC and Jamie Dimon's friends put this together to remind everybody what they specifically want to remind you? I'm thinking this is media putting themselves together and creating a narrative That's what they do. They create a narrative. Let's listen to more of this narrative.
Speaking, the 1940 Act imposes a bunch of fiduciary obligations on investment advisors. Governance requirements like independent directors, restrictions on transactions with affiliated parties, leverage restrictions, custody requirements, and more. Put simply, funds regulated by the 40 Act, including all ETFs, need to be managed on behalf of you, the investor. I bring this up because these protections do not apply to the Bitcoin ETPs that got approved last week. Less than ideal.
Okay, so right now, Jim Cramer is complaining about protections for these ETPs. He's saying because these protections aren't in place, basically, these aren't ETFs. Because the ETFs, they got these protections. There's some qualifying characteristics that are missing. So these are actually ETPs. Well, first of all, why did everybody in the media the entire time leading up to this, why did Gary Gensler himself and the SEC call these ETFs the entire time? So were they lying then? Are they lying now? Were they misleading then? Are they misleading now? Does it matter? Does it matter? Do I really need these protections in place if I want to get exposure to Bitcoin? Well, the true answer is no. Because what Bitcoin is not about ETFs or ETPs. What it is about peer-to-peer transactions and a decentralized network of computers that solve transactions on a blockchain. And that's what the point of it is. It's decentralization, and down the road, we're going to get DeFi and a lot of different actual financial tools built on Bitcoin. We're seeing that right now. I'm very bullish on that. But again, Jim Cramer's not at any point in this really going to go and talk about buying Bitcoin itself or talk about the implications of DeFi. Instead, what he's trying to do, it seems, is dissuade those institutions and those people that are older that saw this ETF approved as a green light from buying Bitcoin for some odd reason. Why is he trying to avoid people from buying these Bitcoin ETFs? And he's not reminding you that, you know, you could just go buy Bitcoin if you like the asset. He's not going to do this.
As you want these kinds of protection, especially because there have been multiple instances of chicanery when it comes to crypto money management. One more caveat. While the SEC approved these exchange-traded products, you shouldn't take that as...
And you know what? And to his point, you know, there has been. We had FTX, we had Celsius. Just go buy Bitcoin. Just go buy Bitcoin and take it off the exchanges and get it out of the hands of these BlackRocks and these Fidelities. And so the only good point he's making here, in my mind, is, you know, okay, fine. There have been some bad companies in the crypto space, but those are the companies. That's not Bitcoin. Bitcoin is just the thing they use. People scam you with cash all the time. We're not going to blame cash. We blame the people that did the scam. Okay, so be careful for these institutions, is what he's saying. Maybe you don't want to trust BlackRock, and maybe you don't want to trust Fidelity, which, you know, I can agree with that to a point. But at the same time, these institutions are so big, BlackRock and Fidelity, where I don't trust that they're what? Yeah, they could dump on us, they could sell on us, they could play money manipulation, but you're not gonna get your money's not just gonna disappear. Okay, with these ETFs, likely. I mean, I don't know. I'm not an expert on ETFs, to be honest with you. I don't want to be. I just want to buy Bitcoin, and maybe I'll get some exposure at my 401ks. But I think for the most part, BlackRock and Fidelity, you know, specifically, now Bitwise and all these other ones I never heard of until these ETF things came up, maybe less, maybe just as much. I don't know. But let's continue listening.
Gary Gensler, the head of the SEC's company, offering some sort of endorsement. Okay, it's not an endorsement. It's not the government saying these are fine. Matter of fact, it's really quite the opposite. If you read the statement Gensler issued last Wednesday, it's crystal clear that the SEC felt their hands were tied here. He noted that the SEC had explicitly not approved more than 20 previous filings for these things in the past. But in one of those cases, they got challenged in court, and the judge ruled against them. The court criticized the SEC for blocking spot Bitcoin ETPs while also allowing other types of funds to track out.
Isn't that interesting that when we hear Jim Cramer talking about how the courts ruled against the SEC, he hits the boo button. So, okay, so you're not in favor of the courts ruling against the SEC. And so, Jim Cramer, are you more of a fan of overregulation, and are you okay with the SEC running rampant and over-regulating and, doing what the courts... So we're going to favor the SEC over the courts. That's what this... Maybe he's trying to be funny. You know, he is an entertainer. Let's cut him some slack. But it's not a good look, okay? These probably, as we're seeing in the chat, these aren't his words, okay? And now he's putting boo against the SEC losing in court. I mean, why you boo it? I mean, I honestly, if I had a button here, I'd go, I'd do a crowd cheering.
For example, Bitcoin futures, and basically force them to reconsider. Should we care that the SEC didn't want to do this and essentially granted approval of these new spot Bitcoin ETFs by court order? Crypto proponents likely don't care. They were never big fans of the SEC anyway. So why should they care about whether or not the regulators are happy about this? But you know what? When I step back, I still think it's important to stress that the SEC basically did everything in its power to stop this stuff from happening.
And they couldn't. And they couldn't stop it. They did everything in their power to stop this thing from happening, and they couldn't. And it came anyway. You can't stop Bitcoin.
Now, that said, I'm not as stridently against these new vehicles as Gary Gensler is. Sure, I'm not a crypto guy. Dali did it, but and done okay, frankly. But at this point, Bitcoin's been around for 15 years. It's fairly well established. And I don't want to try to stop anyone from speculating on this stuff as long as they do their research. Of course, I'm not totally sure what your research would be, but that's not my problem.
Do you think Jim Cramer did his own research here?
And I feel a lot like Jamie Dimon, as a longtime Bitcoin skeptic and even an antagonist who's now pretty
longtime Bitcoin skeptic. Guy bought a farm with Bitcoin profits.
Pathetic about the subject. Here's what Dimon said about, well, it's an expurgated version, when he joined CNBC's Squawk.
Right, we heard him. We heard Jamie Dimon.
I'm going to hold him that if he ever says it again, I am going to just reach into my screen. I'm going to throw a brick at him.
If he ever talks about Bitcoin again, he's going to throw. Jamie Dimon said he's never going to talk about Bitcoin again. He's going to talk about Bitcoin.
I also respect the position of a firm like Vanguard, the gigantic privately held asset manager.
All right, so Jim Cramer goes on to talk about Vanguard. I listened to some of this a little bit briefly as I was putting together, but kind of tuned in and out. So you caught a little bit of the words there, guys. It's very interesting. Be careful of the media spin. Today, guys, this is a big story. Just know, look, I'll show you this. Fidelity, 20,000 Bitcoin. BlackRock, 25,000 Bitcoin. Billions of dollars are getting invested in this. Bitcoin's not going anywhere. The SEC didn't want the ETF to be approved. That's what the scoop is, guys. Let's see what happens with Bitcoin. I am so sorry, folks. I got to cut it short today. I got a jet. I got a meeting. Much love to each and every single one of you guys out there. Thanks for tuning in today. I am Crypto Kip. This is the Crypto Report. Don't forget to smash the like button. Subscribe to the channel. And as always, folks, you got to remember to DCA, HODL. I'll see you in the next one. Thanks, everybody. Have a great night. Peace, y'all.